again, we're going to go through the PowerPoint. It'll go through information on the Zoom platform and information on different resources, things to keep in mind when you're holding your virtual meetings and things like that. So this is for, it says Turning Point District, but we're actually doing these in all of our districts, and that information will be out there for everybody to view and look back to, and I will send this PowerPoint to each of you that are here on the meeting tonight, and that way you can click through to the links and stuff and look at stuff on, you know, during your own time as well. So the reason for this, and you know, obviously those of you that are on and that are watching this want to keep that scouting program going during this time when we're not able to meet in person. So we thank you for that, and it's a great thing for your scouts, and it's a good thing for adults too. It's another thing to kind of occupy your time in a positive way when you're, you know, when you're at home and you know, busy, keeping the family busy and yourself busy, and a lot of you know, a lot of people are still working from home and stuff. So we appreciate your taking the time to continue that scouting program as well. So at this point, all events, campouts, in-person meetings, as you know, have been canceled for the time being, but that doesn't mean that scouting has to stop. It's an activity that can still be done when there are other things that can't be done during this time. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody just so there's no background noise on that. All right, and then just continue to check our website, social media accounts, emails, and things like that coming out. Hopefully we'll get to the point soon where we can begin to have those meetings in person again. This website, if you have not already seen this, this is on our website, on the TRC Twin Rivers page. It is trcscouting.org/scout-on. So when you click on, you can click through this link once you have the PowerPoint. And I'm going to show you that website. Sorry, I just want to have it share that page now. Wait, I'm sorry, where are we? Open up. I apologize, I'm trying to go back to that previous slide. There we go. Okay, well, it's not going to that. I think it's because I have the PowerPoint open on the slideshow. But this site, when you have the PowerPoint, you can click on that link. It'll bring you to our webpage. It looks like this. Now the webpage has, we can go to that once we get, I'll go through the resources once we get towards the end of this. But we have on there the Scout On Challenge, if you haven't already seen that, things to do as a troop or as a pack, and that challenge. And then once it's completed, you submit the information through us. They're going to be doing a patch and things like that. But everything can be submitted right online. So you want to make sure that as your scouts are doing the challenges and things like that, that they're taking pictures as quote unquote evidence of what's being done to fulfill those challenges. There's links to trainings. There is links to the Merit Badge Academy, Merit Badge sessions that are going on. There are now on that website, there are Cub Scout adventures for each rank, and I think there's 2 for each rank on there. So if you scroll down towards the bottom, you'll see those. Those were put together by the Mohawk District and the District Executive Tori. So those are great adventures that are there for the Cub Scout ranks. There are the 30-day challenges for Cub Scouts and 30-day challenges for Scouts BSA on there as well. So lots of information on this page. There's this, it says right there, you can see the thumbs up or thumbs down. That's being updated as we go along of what is still going on, what's not going on. So this is really like the home base of the resources and things like that. And then of course there's always our Facebook pages, the council Facebook page, each district's Facebook page. And then we are trying to get that information out to you by email and things like that as they come up. It's always important when you're doing the virtual meetings to follow the BSA social media guidelines as well as youth protection guidelines and barriers to abuse. There are specific portions of all of these guidelines that pertain to scouting virtually, and you still have to have 2 deep leadership. So even we always say, you know, when you're preparing for your meetings, make sure that you have 2 registered YPT trained adults that are able to be on that meeting, even if, you know, your scouts parents might be there. You know, you don't know if they're ever going to leave the room or something like that. You don't want to be in a situation where it's just the scout and 1 other leader. So just make sure that you've got 2 leaders that are YPT trained that can be on that meeting at all times. And so basically you would follow those same kinds of guidelines as you would as if it were an in-person meeting. All of the things on this page that are underlined are links. So when you have the PowerPoint, you can click on them and they will bring you to additional information for that. And then the first online virtual thing that you might want to run is the cyber chip program, and that way there are, the scouts are learning the important things of being safe while online, and that could be the first thing that you do, you know, if you haven't already done all of that, or if your scouts haven't done that yet. So Zoom specifically, now there are multiple different platforms for doing your meetings virtually. Zoom, I think, is the most popular one that has been used since this whole pandemic has started, and for businesses, for personal reasons, and for scouting. But there are multiple platforms. So these principles do carry over to those different platforms. But specifically, this will be about Zoom because it is the most popular. It's the one you're going to see the most information on, and they actually have great tutorials, and that's what this page, the bottom part here that says click here, is a link to the Zoom tutorials, and they're about 3 or 4 minute videos on the Zoom website that go over how to do the different things on the Zoom platform. So Zoom, you can either pay for an extended or a more open version of Zoom, or they do offer just a free account. And so a free account, you can have 3 different users that use that account, and anytime that a meeting is set up, you can have up to 100 people in that meeting, and that meeting can last for up to 40 minutes. And then so you can plan around just doing that, and that way you don't have to cover the cost of a paid account. You can do this with a free account. And then they offer a web-based video like we're doing here, or phone, just dial-in access if someone doesn't have access to a camera or a webcam to be able to do that. So setting up a Zoom account is easy. You just go to Google Zoom, or go to zoom.com, sign up for an account. And again, there's two versions, the free version or there's a paid version. And then the paid versions, there's a couple different levels depending on how many people you want to have access to your meeting at a time, or different things that you can do with the Zoom platform. Once you have the account set up, whether you have a paid version or a free version, setting up a meeting is the same. So if you can see in that picture there, you log into your account, you'll click on My Account on the top right corner, and then you'll come up with this page that's the first page that's shown there: Profile, Meetings, Webinars, Recordings, Settings. You're going to click on Meetings, and then you'll see the bottom photo that's on this slide. It'll say schedule a new meeting. Once you do that, then you just fill in the information, basically the title of what your meeting is going to be about. The description is not required. You don't have to put anything in there. You set the date and the time that you want the meeting to start, and then you set the duration for how long you want the meeting to last. And then for a meeting ID, you're going to do generate automatically. And that'll generate, once you hit save and get the meeting started, it'll generate a specific ID for just that one meeting. You don't have to do a password in most cases if you're going to just email it out to your scouts, parents, or your leaders, or whoever you're sending it to. If it's something that you are going to put out a wider group, you might want to do a password, but I think for our purposes for unit meetings, you wouldn't need to use that password. Video, you can choose whether or not the host has their video on when they begin the meeting or off. You want it on in most cases for everybody, and the same with audio. You want that on, or you want to choose both for audio. It'll say computer audio, or I believe the other is phone audio, and that way if somebody calls in or logs in on the computer, they have access to, they'll be able to hear everything normally. Enable waiting room allows you to have people, when they join the meeting, it'll put them into the waiting room. And that way, it's a safety feature. So if someone enters the meeting that shouldn't be there, you as the host would not have to admit them into the meeting. And then at the bottom, you would click save, and that would save the meeting, and it'll generate the meeting ID and the link, which when you signed up for the training tonight, you would have gotten that link emailed to you. It'll generate that once you hit save. And then, so once you hit save, you will see a summary of your meeting. So it's a page that looks like this. You can add it to, if you have Outlook, you can add it to your Outlook calendar, your Yahoo calendar, your Google calendar. It shows you the meeting ID number. It shows you a password if you had a password there. It'll give you the link. Now over on the right-hand side next to that link, you see where it says copy the invitation. So when you click on that, it'll pull up a box and it'll have all the meeting information in it, and you can just copy and paste that and plug it into an email or something like that. And then at the bottom of this page, sorry, here, so this talks about when you can copy the invitation, copy the link, paste it into an email, and then there's a button at the bottom of this page that says edit. So if you need to change anything, if for some reason you need to reschedule the meeting, you don't have to change the ID number or anything. You can hit edit, you can change the date, you can change the time, and that link will still work. You would just need to then communicate that new date or time to your participants so they know when to then join the meeting, but they don't need a whole new link or a whole new meeting ID number in order to still go to that same meeting. When you're ready to actually start your meeting, you're going to go right back to this same page. So when you log into your Zoom account, you go to the meetings on the left-hand, sorry, just lost my train of thought. On the left-hand toolbar there, you'll see meetings, click on that. You'll see all your meetings that you have scheduled in one place. And then you'll see over on the right-hand side next to the meeting that you're looking for, it says start or delete. So you would hit start, and that will bring up the meeting, and you can start, if you have the waiting room going, you can start entering people who may have already clicked on the link to log in before you actually started the meeting. Once you start the meeting as the host, you'll see this toolbar. Everybody should have the toolbar. You'll have different options as the host. So you'll be able to see everybody with cameras. You'll be able to see if anybody's not, if they're not having their video on, you'll see their name. We'll go over some safety guidelines as far as the videos and stuff like that is concerned in just a minute. The toolbar, you can move that toolbar anywhere on your screen. If you click on it, you'll see you just need to find where it has the little 4 arrows, up, down, left, and right. And once you find that, you can actually move that toolbar. So if you prefer it at the top of your computer, you can put it there. If you prefer it at the bottom, you can put it down at the bottom. And top or bottom. You will see, now sometimes that toolbar will go away. If you can't find it, just move your mouse or hover your mouse over your screen and it should pop up once your mouse goes over that. But it does go away, so it doesn't block your view for the whole time. Microphone, you can mute or unmute yourself. When you're the host, you can mute other participants. There's different buttons you can pick to mute everybody all at once or unmute everybody at once, or you can do it individually. You'll see when you're the host, if you're looking at the screen and it shows everybody's videos, you can, there'll be 3 little dots when you hover in the top right of their photo. And that gives you other options of things that you can do for that specific person. And then there's also an unmute or mute button there that you can use to, like if someone's got a lot of background noise going on for some reason, you can mute that person so it doesn't interfere with the rest of the meeting. The security feature on the button, or excuse me, on the toolbar, you can click on that. It allows you to lock the meeting so that nobody else can join. Once you have everybody in the meeting that should be there, that's just a security feature that they've put up there. Manage participants. You will see everyone that's in the meeting. You can mute or unmute all right there as when you're the host. Chat. So chat, there's a couple different options with the chat. In Zoom, there is an option for private chat between participants. And this is something, it's a YPT issue. You do not want to have private chats enabled. You want to disable that so that you do not have scouts chatting one-on-one, or you don't have adults chatting one-on-one with a scout. So you can disable chat altogether if you don't want any chat going on. But sometimes with your meetings, if you want to have it interactive, they can, scouts or adults can use that chat, to put answers or to come up with questions or whatever you're doing with your meeting. They can use that chat feature. You just want to make sure that the private chats are turned off so that that's not happening. The one-on-one chats aren't happening. Sharing screen, which is what we're doing now with the PowerPoint. So when you click share screen, it'll bring up a white box and it'll show you as the host all the different screens that you have open on your computer. And you can choose which screen you want to share with everybody else. So and then if you want to change to a different screen, you click on that again, choose the next screen that you want to show. If it's a different, if you have a, Internet Explorer open with a video or something that you want to show, you can click on that next screen, you can show your video, and then you can go back and forth with the different screens and show a bunch, show whatever you have set up for your meeting. You can record the meeting. Any meetings that you have going on that have youth on that meeting are not allowed to be recorded. So if it's just an adult meeting, if it's a committee meeting or something that you want to record so that somebody who wasn't able to be on the meeting at the time can then watch it back, that's perfectly fine. You can record those and send them out to the adults. But any meeting that has a youth participant cannot be recorded. And then reactions. If you have your meeting muted, people can do a thumbs up if they understand. They can clap. They can do different things to interact even if they are muted. And then there is the end meeting button on the far right side. And when you click on that, you can end the meeting for everybody. You can end the meeting, I believe you can just leave the meeting. And that's another YPT concern or something to keep in mind. As the host, you want to end the meeting for all in most cases, because you don't want to leave the meeting open to just having a couple of scouts that, just decide to stay on and hang out for a while, or, you don't want to end up in a situation where you have just one adult on and scouts that are still on the meeting or something. So in most cases, as the host of a meeting, you just want to end meeting for all participants. And again, just some more youth protection considerations. Guidelines, they still apply in an online environment. 2, deep leadership still applies. You want to make sure that the leaders are logged on before the youth log in. All activities are open to parent or guardian observation, and parent and guardians are encouraged to participate. Again, the private chat feature has to be disabled if you're going to have youth in attendance on your meetings. Meetings with youth cannot be recorded. All youth and adults must be visible via video. So this was a concern that is not necessarily it's not on the specific guidelines. If you go and look at the Guide to Safe Scouting or the YPT guidelines for online meetings, it doesn't say that in there that all youth and adults must be visible via video, but there are situations, or there have been situations, where Zoom meetings are being hacked. And so if you can see everybody, then you know who is in attendance at your meeting. If someone has their video not showing, anybody could be sitting there. And especially if they might, they just don't, it's just not, if it's a large meeting and you're just not sure, that you just want to make sure that you know exactly who is on that meeting. So that's just something to keep in mind. If everybody has the video, they should be using that for sure. And it's just something to keep in mind so that you don't run into a situation where someone is in that meeting that shouldn't be. Again, the meeting host and the meeting for all, or all youth must leave the meeting before the YPT trained adults can leave the meeting. And then again, here's another link that you can check out some more information, online safety for scouting activities. Conducting a meeting itself, try to keep your meeting as close to the structure of a normal meeting as you can. Again, anything that's underlined here, different things that you can check out, different blogs and different things that that you can do with your units. A lot of this stuff in here is kind of PAC related, but there are definitely some Scouts BSA things out there that you can use as well. Before the meeting, make sure that you set up the meeting, use your virtual platform, and make sure that your meeting participants obviously have that information and know how to log in. For Zoom, and I think for most platforms, your participants, so your families, your scouts, they don't have to have an account. So they don't have to have a Zoom account in order to join a Zoom meeting. They don't have to have, a GoToMeeting account in order to join that meeting. They just need to click on that link that they're provided by you, and they would be able to get into that specific meeting. It's a good idea to establish a code of conduct for meetings. And again, that's another link that you can check out for that, to make sure that all of the scouts and your parents know what's expected during the course of your meeting. Have an activity going on for your scouts when they log in, so that there's, keeping those kids busy when they've got that downtime in the beginning. Things might be able to get out of hand, but if you've got an activity, a quick fun thing that they can do while you're waiting to get the meeting actually started, then that's a good idea. Have your regular opening, do the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and the law. If you guys have, something that you normally do before your PAC meetings or your troop meetings, continue to do that. You can do that, and it's good for everybody to be able to see see each other and continue on with the things that they're used to doing. And then have your activity. Do your normal program that you would normally do, and but make sure that it is something that can be done in front of a computer. And then if you are going to need, if the scout is going to need certain supplies in order to do that activity, make sure, like when you send out the meeting link to your families, make sure that you communicate what those supplies are going to be beforehand, so they can be prepared and you don't have a bunch of downtime where everybody's scrambling to go and get that supplies available for them to be able to do it. And then have your regular closing. Do a closing like you normally would. Make it as, like I said, make it as traditional to a meeting as you possibly can, you know, when we're not in that traditional setting. All right, so guidelines, they have updated and changed some guidelines to help everybody out during this time. For Cub Scouts, BSA is allowing parents and other adults in the Cub Scouts family to sign off on Webelos and Arrow light requirements through July 31st, 2020. Normally only a den leader can sign off on these requirements, but obviously in this situation there needs to be other plans in place, so that is the stipulation for them. Cub Scouts can continue to work on their current den's advancement through July 31st, 2020. This gives extra time for Cub Scouts to complete their badge of rank, and if they earn their badge of rank prior to July 31st, 2020, they can then advance to the next rank. For Scouts BSA, local councils have an authority to grant an extension for Eagle projects through the end of September 2020. And there is additional information on the, there's a couple different links. There's a Brian on Scouting link that goes over advancement changes, and also just the regular Eagle extension requirements are in play, and you have to, they're really not anything extended. I mean, if they have an extenuating circumstance that this situation of this virus has changed the course of their Eagle project and has really prevented them from not being able to do that project, then you know, those extensions are going to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. So they still have to supply that reasoning for needing an extension. The ability to accept, so councils have the ability to accept electronic signatures for any rank advancement and awards, and that's effective again through the end of September 2020. And when we say electronic signatures, you know, if you have a form that needs to be signed by multiple people, you know, you can scan that form, take a photo of it, and email it around to the different people that need the signatures. You can physically mail a copy to the different people that need it, and then the last person can send that in to council. Whatever works best for you and your unit, that's the route that we want you to take. But basically, we don't have to have original signatures on that paperwork for now, because we know that can be kind of difficult in this situation. And then also Scoutmaster conferences, and we are doing our Eagle boards via video conferencing as well. So the new COVID-19 guidance clarifies that this is okay as long as youth protection, of course, is always followed. So that's really where we're at with this. We will go over some questions, but if you have any questions, again, I'm going to send you this PowerPoint so you can click through the links. But if you do have any questions, you know, reach out to myself, any of your District Key 3, myself, Frank Mahalik, Joe Layat. We're here for you. We are still available for any questions. Give us a call, email us, get in touch with those questions that you have, and we will do our best to get you that information right away. And if we don't have the answer, we will certainly seek that answer out and get you that information.